What is going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Joined by my two boys. The usual Wednesday crew is back. AP, DC. We got a nice little 6-game slate. Usually on Wednesdays, it feels like we get like a 10-gamer, an 11-gamer, something like that. But as I mentioned Monday, I like what they're doing with the schedule. Big slate yesterday and Tuesday. Pretty good slate tomorrow on Thursday. So pretty much all week except Sunday. Obviously, Super Bowl, NBA should not try and overlap with that. But we get good slates Monday through Saturday. So I'm excited for it. Before we got on the show, probably about an hour ago, maybe a little less. I mean, half the team on two teams, the Lakers and the Timberwolves, are all got questionable. So who knows what's going to go on with that? They're playing at 10 p.m. Eastern too. We got 3 games there. So it's a very, very interesting slate because the first couple games, I mean, especially in particular, one of them is in a very good spot too with a lot of injuries. So crazy slate. I'm excited to dive in, break it down, but got to bring in my boys. I'm going to go to DC first because haven't talked to you really since your trip to Cabo. Yesterday, I tuned into the show a little bit at the end. I think it was Cabo. Tuned in the show a little bit at the end. It looked like you left your internet there with you, so hopefully you got it back today. How was your trip? You survived? It's a good feeling. It's good to see that. You probably consumed a lot of booze. And then I had one question for you because we were talking about it. Did you get on any morning runs like you wanted to and see the landscape?
I did, yeah. Great trip out to Cabo. Happy to be back. Kind of takes a vacation sometimes to realize, my routine's like pretty good in normal life. So
yeah,
great trip. I did get out for a few runs on the beaches of Cabo. It's tough, let me tell you. Running on sand, I could only make it a few miles, but did manage to do that. And for those that were watching yesterday, I think my computer issues, internet issues are all solved, so should be good to go today. And man, I hope they are, because this is a crazy slate. Interested to hear your guys' opinion on it. I mean, with all the fantastic game early on, right? Chicago and Charlotte looks just totally stackable. But then you have potentially just like massive value in the later games, right? And we're not probably going to know that when the early games lock. So all kinds of different strategies too, right? We're not just talking about trying to make the best projected team or whatever. There's a lot that goes into this one. So excited to break it all down for you guys.
DC, real quick, like what a humble brag. Only ran 3 miles on sand.
Yeah.
God, I mean, man, I'm over here if you told me to go run 2 miles right now, I guarantee I would struggle. I'm not a runner. So, and then
I was there 6 months ago. I've been there, man.
I still remember we were talking about last year, March Madness at Big T's. I remember like waking up because I kept hearing this basketball sound, and there's Titletown, literally like shooting jumpers at 7 a.m. Then he comes back in, it's like 7:30, all sweaty. He's like, I just ran 3 miles with the basketball going up and down the streets. Then he does the Big T, but the rematch is coming up, Title.
Yeah, it'll be even easier than the first game. I will say that. I'm in a little better shape. We're not going to do it after a bender. But first of all, it was not 7 a.m. It was definitely after that. Hoot woke me up early, and I couldn't fall back asleep because he was leaving. Wasn't 3 miles either. It was definitely less than that. But yeah, I was out there getting a sweat and getting some shots up.
Oh, you think you're going to beat Big T again?
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot easier than last time too. Yes.
Why would it be easier than last time?
Oh man,
I'm hooping. I'll just say that I'm running good games against good competition out here.
What's on the line?
I got numbers. Big T and me 10,000.
10K.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I won.
So what are you doing? Like whoever wins, you got to send them like a 1099 or what?
Yeah,
tax season.
Yeah,
we'll just say yes. Since
we'll figure that part out. Yeah, we won't talk about. We haven't got that too far, but hey, I mean, DC wants a little more. If you want to bet a little bit, DC, you can always come to me for a little action. I'll give you some if you want.
I might be switching sides to Big T here. He's been playing.
You already said you were. No, I don't want you on my side now. You're not coming back. You're
all right. I'll stick with Big T.
Yeah, I'm not taking you on my
action,
side.
Though, Title. We do some heads up.
Poker, yeah. I mean, I got to give you some money. Got to give you some money back after last time, AP. So I'll give some back.
I struggle. I struggle mightily in the poker streets. So we'll figure it out, Title.
Simon, I appreciate it. He said, I got you again. I had you round 1, 2. Simon, you're a sharp man. You're behind the scenes, so the people don't know as much. But Simon, you're a very sharp man. So I appreciate that. AP, though, I head over to you. How's your weekend been? Talk a little bit about the slate because, man, it looked pretty straightforward about an hour ago. And now, yeah, I mean, like if these Lakers are ruled out or some of these Timberwolves are ruled out, I love these first games, or like the Chicago game is really good, Charlotte game. But if some of these pieces are ruled out, man, the late games are just going to be the stone nuts, it feels like. So what is your approach with game theory, roster construction, and your initial thoughts on the slate?
Yeah, I like how this slate sets up. So we have a game at 7 Eastern, another game at 7:30, and then another game at 8, and then nothing until 10 Eastern when we have 3 games. And we have a ton of news that we are waiting on in those games. So as a tournament player, as a contrarian player, you're going to be able to do a lot of different things tonight that we'll talk about, like this Bulls game that DC talked about. Stack it up early while you let others wait for this news. Maybe we get to these later games, and maybe D'Lo, maybe Edwards is out, and then maybe like Jordan McLaughlin starting. Like who knows right now with everyone that's questionable. Like there's going to be so many different routes to go tonight. You definitely want to plan going into the slate, but I think it looks like a good one.
Yeah, I agree. DC, do you have any initial thoughts before we go all into it? Because, yeah, I mean, the Charlotte side is really good. The Bulls side, I think, too. But, like, do you have a read on your Timberwolves? Since you're a Timberwolves guy, it's great you're on the show. Do you have a read about them? I think I saw in Discord you do. But it's not just the Timberwolves. It's also the Lakers and the big name Lakers, too. So talk about what your initial thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, my initial plan for this slate, most of the day was to just stack the shit out of that Charlotte-Chicago game. I mean, we've seen what Charlotte does when they get down bodies. They play the tightest rotation in the league. They're going to do it again tonight. They're going to play 6-7 guys out there. They're all going to play 35 to 45 minutes. So that looked great. But listen, if these Timberwolves also, I don't think that's going to happen. So just talking briefly about the Wolves, they're playing pretty good for them, right? They're in the playoff hunt. They're playing some decent winning basketball. They like their core, right? D'Lo, Edwards, and Towns. Like they think they can win with that. And how far that can take you, I have my questions. But that's what they have right now. So they're trying to win games. So like Beverly, Russell, right? These guys played with a sprained ankle and a shin contusion, and they played yesterday. So I don't see why they would sit out when they're trying to win. Edwards is the one I could potentially see sitting because they're talking his knees have been hurting him. So he would be the one that I would maybe expect to sit. But I think Russell and Beverly are going to be in there. And then, I mean, do we even know about the Sacramento traded guys, Sabonis, Holiday, Lamb, if they're going to be available? Because that changes a lot too. And now we haven't even got to the Lakers, right?
Well, the only one that's in the player pool on DK is Karis LeVert, I guess. On FanDuel, they're all in there. Glock wrote in Discord. So none of them are even in the player pool on DK except LeVert, but FanDuel they are.
I mean, I wouldn't play those guys anyway, but obviously a lot of the value there would get taken away if those guys play. Is the thing with Sacramento, right? Because Sacramento right now looks like it's kind of loaded with value, or at least players you could potentially play. So it's going to be tough to try to figure out the best route to take tonight.
Yeah, it definitely will be tough. We're going to go through all the games. We're going to talk about it. We'll revisit roster construction maybe at the end a little bit. But right now we're planning on not getting the news for the 10 p.m. Easter games. There's 3 of them late. We're planning on not getting that news until the first 3 games lock. So I think that's how it's going to go. The slate's tough. You're going to have to go into the slate with a plan like always, but especially today, whether you're going to backload, whether you're going to play some guys from the first games, whether you're just going to say screw it and just fully stack the first 3 games. Because if the news and everything, if all these guys are in, or majority of them are in, I'd take the first games over these late games for sure. So it's a really interesting slate. It's a fun one. We'll dive into it. First, let's see some people in chat. We got Matthew Moore. I just joined the team. Can't wait to run Pier with you guys. Love to hear that, Matthew Moore. Hopefully you did use the promo code SB56 to get you 56% off your first month. Make sure you get in Discord too, Matthew Moore. But yeah, the promo code right now, a lot of new faces that I see in Discord, or new usernames, that is SB56. There's no better deal out there. 56% off your first month. Can use it with SaberSim, which is very, very crucial in my process, in NBA process for a majority of people. I think projections mean a lot. You want to see where some people are landing, what pivots you want to do. SaberSim's a very good tool. Then the Run Pure Bet side, a lot of Super Bowl bets already up. I saw JJ, Big T's got some, and Gone said he might drop some, and I expect even more to go up on there too. So you can use it with the bets package. You can use it with SaberSim package, SB56, 56% off.
Does
ahead,
this
DC.
just run just through the Super Bowl at 56? Because like we don't do that many like big promos, right? It's
Monday.
Not like it's not like an
Monday.
every week thing. This one, I mean, I'm not like the promo guy, but this is if you've been thinking about signing up, like this is a really good deal. Take advantage of it.
Yeah,
I can tell you guys, Hoop is going to shut that thing off.
Yeah,
you know,
he
maybe
will.
not even by Monday, maybe by the time the Super Bowl, by kickoff. So
He'll be sitting there waiting to shut it down. You know,
he definitely will be for sure.
Yeah, so AP said it. I said Monday, but AP's the boss man here. It might even be before Monday, so I wouldn't wait. And why would you wait till Monday when we have the Super Bowl content? UFC 271, golf kicking off tomorrow, and our golf team absolutely crushes. So no better time to get in right now. Make sure you get in Discord. Like I said, Matthew Moore. We got Jordan, Nadesify, Chia. Adam Williams said random, but Run Pier helped me pay for my Padres season tickets today. Love to hear that, Adam. DC's got a smile on his face, I imagine. Baseball hopefully coming up sooner rather than later. We won't go into all that right now, but appreciate all you guys hanging out. I got a couple people in chat looking to now challenge me one-on-one and throwing money down. Yeah, we got to down the road. Maybe we'll see. It's Big T and I right now. I'm not going to commit to any of those, but that's enough of that. Someone earlier too, I missed the name, but it's Sean. He said, we've been banging the likes all week. Let's keep it up. You guys really have. And on Monday, you guys absolutely crushed for me. I hardly even said to hit the like button or ask, and you guys already did it. So going to kind of take that approach. I'll say right now, if you could hit the like and subscribe for us, we appreciate it. But you guys absolutely crushed. I hope I don't really need to say it the rest of the show. We appreciate it for sure. But that's enough of that. I say we dive into the games. We got a 6-game slate, like I said, pretty much broken up into 2 pieces. 7 p.m. Eastern game, 7:30 p.m. Eastern game, 8 p.m. Eastern, and then 3 10 p.m. Eastern games with a lot of news. So first game on the slate, 7 p.m. Eastern, the San Antonio Spurs, the Cleveland Cavaliers, 216.5 total. Cleveland is favored by 5.5. Go to the injury report. Markkanen out, Darius Garland questionable, Brandon Goodwin questionable. And I saw on Discord before he came on, someone dropped it where it looks like Darius Garland's more toward the probable than questionable. Yeah. Looks like he'll suit up. But, I mean, we're going to get that news regardless. But I'm just going to take the plan that he is playing. As far as the Spurs side, Trey Jones, Lonnie Walker, both are probable. DC, I'll go over to you first. We talked about the next game we're going to get to, the Charlotte and the Chicago game being very good. Talked about the late games could be very good. Is this more of a stay away game right away? Is this a couple pieces you're going to pick out? What are you seeing in this one?
Yeah, I mean, if the winning lineups tonight have a lot of Spurs and Cavaliers on them, then I won't be up near the top, because I honestly can't really fathom really kind of playing anyone from this game. Like tonight, to me, like the roster spots on every lineup that you make they're kind of precious, you know. Like you can either like wait for that news, which is a very valuable thing to do in the late games, or the Chicago Charlotte game looks so juicy that unless more things change with Cleveland and San Antonio, and listen, I mean, you never know, right? We're still 2 hours. It's a crazy time of the year in the NBA. People could be rolled out that shift things around, but as it stands right now, I really don't see much here. Like Jared Allen on FanDuel, I think he's 7,600 at power forward. I think that's fine, reasonable play, but no one that I'm putting first into my lineup or anything like that. So I'll be hoping for a low scoring game here. Kind of expect it. With LeVert there, with obviously Garland. Like Garland was the guy that you would sometimes play, right? From the Cavs, he kind of did everything for them. But he's going to have to share the ball with LeVert. It's going to have a huge impact on his production. So I just don't see it with the Cavs right now. You need these prices to come down before they really become forefront on most slates for me. So stay away game to start us off for me.
Yeah, I like it. And I'm glad you mentioned Jared Allen on FanDuel. I think Evan Mobley on FanDuel is fine too at the power forward position. But
one or the other, don't play them both together. It's just like you can pick off one guy if you want, but don't go crazy here.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. AP, you kind of agree with us where it's not a game you want to lock too many spots in. Do you have some pieces you want to? And also, Kate Fallick said your hair is always looking good, AP. So wanted to point that out too.
Yeah, I just got it trimmed the other day. So appreciate you, Kate Fallick, making me feel good over here. Yeah, I mean, here's what I think we do. I agree with you guys. I think you cross this game off and you give yourself an extra 30 minutes to figure out the rest of the games on this slate. I mean, Jared Allen has shown some really big upside, but we have multiple other centers that can match him on the slate. Nurkic later on. Obviously AD, like if let's just say some of those other studs, sat, or with the Timberwolves, like if a few of their big guys sat, it would bump up town. So I don't mind. Like I don't think Jared Allen really kills me. It takes a big number for him to kill me, but he's going to be very low. So kind of to keep it short and sweet, since we have many really good games on this slate, I am going to fade almost all of these guys, and I feel good about it. Like, sure, Evan Mobley on DraftKings feels like you could play him. It's just, I feel like Jared Allen has been grabbing all the boards. I feel like Kevin Love has been coming off the bench and just dominating, and it's cutting into his production, and they like him out there mainly for defense. So I'll probably move off of him, but I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't blame someone for taking a shot on him. So, and then Darius Garland, he's put up good numbers, but obviously he hasn't played in like 10 days. And then with Karis LeVert coming back, it's going to take usage away from him, or with Karis LeVert starting and joining this team. It would be, I could see it just, they're probably going to, feel each other out and get things figured out. But I'm going to be off of this game for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to approach it. If you want to, like, the more people you play in this game, the more unique and lower owned you're going to get these guys. But man, if the news breaks a different way late and this next game we're going to come up to with the really good spots, I wouldn't go too overboard on this game. I'd probably set a rule 2 max, probably, if you're 115 or something like that. I mean,
we're not, breaking any news here. Nobody's going to play this game, right? If you look, like, scroll through ownerships when this game locks, like, most people are going to have blank rosters heading into the second game. So it's not some hot take, but we're all in agreement on what the best way to approach it is.
Yeah, for sure. The more people you have, definitely the more different you'll be. But let's get into the next game. A lot better game than the first one, and a very important game on the slate. The Chicago Bulls, the Charlotte Hornets, big boy total, 236.5. And we get a really close spread. The Bulls are only favored by 2. There's injuries on both sides too. For the Bulls, Lonzo, Ayo, Caruso, Derek Jones Jr., all 4 of them are out. You go to the Charlotte side, Bouknight doubtful, Gordon Hayward out, Cody Martin out, Jalen McDaniels out. Yeah, injury news on both sides. Huge total, close spread. There's Oubre, PJ Washington, Rozier, LaMelo, Bridges. You go to the other side, DeRozan, Vooch, Kobe White. I'll just throw it over to you again, DC, because I know you loved this game at first. This is a game where we know what news we're going to get. Like, the news is pretty much already there and stuff's not going to change. If the other stuff later gets ruled out, yeah, of course, this game might not be the stone nuts, but I don't know. Talk about your approach to this game, because you can't just ignore all these pieces, I don't think.
No, I mean, Charlotte plays, along with the Raptors, I would say those 2 teams kind of play the tightest rotations in the league, even when they've got fully healthy teams, right? The Charlotte, once you get beyond kind of their 9 or 10 guys, there's just not much there. And now you take, like you mentioned, Hayward, Cody Martin, McDaniels. Yeah, you take all these guys off. They played a 8-man rotation in their last game. One of those guys was Gordon Hayward, who is now out. That gets you down to 7. And one of them was Ish Smith, who played 8 minutes. They don't have anyone else behind these guys that they trust. The 6 guys, right? The 5 starters, and then PJ Washington, and like even Ish Smith, they don't really need him because they have LaMelo and Rozier, who are both like point guards, right? So he's not going to play much because the one guy they trust that they have on the bench, really, besides Washington, is Ish Smith, but he doesn't really have a use for them right now because of their roster construction. So you're going to see these guys play huge minutes. I think 40+ minutes for multiple Charlotte guys. And I think all 6 guys are in play, frankly. Rozier in particular, I think 6,400 FanDuel, 6,900 on DraftKings. I love him. Charlotte has lost 5 games in a row. Look who they've played: Toronto, Miami, Cleveland, Boston. Really, really good defensive team. So I think the salaries on a lot of these Charlotte guys are depressed anyway, because they haven't been playing kind of their up-tempo game, right? They haven't scored many points. I mean, look how many points Charlotte has scored in the last 5 games: 101, 86, 101, 107, and 90. What are they projected for against the Bulls tonight? 118 or something like that with the tighter rotation. So I think all these Charlotte guys are in play. I think you want, in my opinion, at least 3, maybe 4 on the same team. I think is totally fine. And on the other side, right, the Bulls shorthanded too. So you're going to see big minutes out of, I think, Kobe White, Levine, DeRozan, and Vucevic are going to do almost everything for that team. Javonte Green as well should be out there for big minutes. So just seems like a very predictable game in terms of where all the minutes are going to go. It's the highest total on the slate. Just a fantastic game environment in general, and it's frankly hard to see. You can fill up your whole roster with the guys that are going to play all the minutes and do all the production in this game. It's it's a pretty good way to start a lineup.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I mean, you got to play somebody, even though all this news, if the news later didn't come, like everyone would be loading it.
It is hard though. Like the Chicago studs, like picking between Vucevic, DeRozan, Levine.
I'm just always DeRozan now in GPPs. I mean,
but I mean, on FanDuel you get a $2,500 discount to Levine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love this game. Obviously, I think everybody should and will. But maybe this later news, right? With people waiting on this later news, they might keep roster spots open. I get that as a strategy, but I just feel so good about this game that I think even if a ton of value opens up late, you could potentially put up a monster score with the game stack here.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. I agree with all that. And then we talked on Monday, like the thing about LaMelo Ball that was a little nerve-wracking was his minutes were so inconsistent. Well, we don't have to worry about his minutes being inconsistent now. He played 44 last game. He shot the ball really poorly too. He was 5 for 19 from the field, 4 from 13 from beyond 1 from 6 from beyond the arc. It just shot terrible. And he still put up 38 DK points. He had 7 turnovers too. His floor, pretty much, it looks like 38 DK points with the roster they got out there right now. So yeah, like Melo, we talked about on Monday. I would not be scared of him right now with this roster.
What do you think, AP? Yeah, I guess I'll just go your opinion on Plumlee in particular. I think is kind of interesting here because I don't think Washington can really slide to the 5 all that much against Vooch for one. And also they're down so many guys that I think Washington has to spend more time actually playing the 3 and the 4. So I think Plumlee could potentially go overlooked.
What are your thoughts on Plumlee, AP?
Yeah, I think it's actually a really interesting spot. If you look at the game against Indy, when Indy was playing Terry Taylor, 5 foot, 6'5", or 6'5", or 6'6". I forget how tall he is, but they were a very short team. Vucevic got whatever he wanted. I think he had like 20 boards in the first half. I mean, it was insane. They couldn't do anything against him down in the paint. So like the Hornets, if they go small with Oubre and PJ Washington out there, which they will at times.
They will. Yep, they'll have to.
Yeah, Vucevic that's when he's going to get it done. But I do think that increases the likelihood of Plumlee playing more minutes too. So I think he's interesting. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily land on him, but I definitely think he's interesting. The one thing about this game, like here's what you got to do if you really like a game stack, because the popular pieces are going to be the Hornet side and not necessarily the Bull side because of pricing. So like Levine 9.1, DeRozan 9.6, Vucevic 9.5. You gotta bump these guys up if you want to play them. Now look at this. So like DeRozan, he's been playing massive minutes. So they played 4 games in 5 nights. His minutes did not take a hit at all. Like he's still playing 38 plus minutes. Like the minute upside is ridiculous. Zach LaVine came back in the game against the Suns. DeRozan still took 27 shots. And then if you go and look at Zach LaVine, he took 20 shots and he smashed. He was running the offense. He had 8 assists, 6 rebounds, 32 points. He was getting to the free throw line. Man, like what I want to do is I want to, over project the Bull side because I do want to stack this game and I do want to have more exposure, maybe 2 pieces from the Bull side. And I think that is going to be how I get contrarian. And I'm not even talking about Kobe White yet. Like he's another guy that's going to have a big role here. I do think he'll be one of the more popular pieces because he's 5.1K. It's easier to make that stack work. So like what I need to find is, maybe like a cheap value piece or 2 in these later games and hope that I get the spend up pieces correct. So I like LaMelo. I like Kelly Oubre, obviously 5'6". I like Zach LaVine. I like DeMar DeRozan. So, I mean, you could even get even more contrarian and throw Plumlee in there, But it's really just going to –
Bridges. I mean, Bridges Bridges might play
Bridges,
48 minutes tonight. He might play the whole game. What like both the Bridges brothers could just play the whole game every game and
So
just do their thing. So.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look at our projections. I'm gonna look at the industry projections, and I'm gonna just bump them up. Like I'm gonna increase them by like 5 or 6 points each of these guys, and I'm just gonna see what the builds look like in SaberSim. Like I'm not gonna go with that, but I'm gonna hand pick which ones I like the best. And then
I know what they look like, and I am gonna go with them.
Let's do it. I mean, man, whenever we're on the same path, DC, it seems like, or all three of us, it seems like we ship. So, why don't we just call this a show? Let's just end it. Let's stack this game, Bulls, Hornets, and let's get on with our day. How about that?
So Joe in chat asked to rank your favorite 3 Bulls and Hornets in this game. I'll go to you first, AP. I'll go to you after DC, then I'll go to myself. It's a good question for sure. AP, your 3 favorite Hornets and your 3 favorite Bulls.
DraftKings or
well, yeah, we're gonna go DraftKings. The big difference is FanDuel is the Zach LaVine price tag, like you mentioned, is the thing that I noticed the biggest difference. But we'll go with DraftKings to rank them.
So I think this game's going to be played in transition. We're going to get a lot of buckets where it's just easy dunks, steals, and then throwing it down the court to guys like LaVine. So like LaVine really comes to guy, good transition player. I would rank him as someone that I have a ton of interest in on the Bull side. And I think at that price, he's going to be much lower owned, maybe the lower owned guy out of all of these in this game. DeMar DeRozan, easy number 2, and then Vucevic, there number 3. Bigs against this Hornets team, obviously can smash. And then Kobe White. Like Kobe White's solid play. I just think he's going to be the easy piece in a game stack to fit in. And I'd rather try to get these tougher pieces in. So LaVine, DeRozan, Vucevic, White for me. And then LaMelo Ball, Kelly Oubre, Bridges, Rozier, and then Washington or Plumlee is how I'd rank it on the other side.
I like it. DC, go to you. Same question.
Yeah, I have LaVine 1 for Chicago over DeRozan even tonight. But it's very, very close for me between DeRozan and LaVine. I'm kind of letting my lineups, wherever side I'm on, I'm kind of just letting the price dictate the lineup, how that all the pieces fit together. Plumlee is the one I'm probably higher on than the field, kind of the biggest variation, just because I think how thin they are, and then how Vucevic, just like AP said, will dominate smaller players. That I think Plumlee is going to have to play more minutes tonight. He's certainly capable of it, right? He's not a guy that like needs to come out after 27 minutes. He can give you 35 minutes for one night. So I really do like him. And then, I want to mention, I think Javonte Green is a pretty interesting play. $4,400 on FanDuel. Chicago is just extremely thin. They just don't have much else that they trust. So I think potentially you could see Green out there for 35 plus minutes. He's a low usage guy, but he can fill up the stat sheet elsewhere. And in a game that's going to have so many possessions, I do think he eventually gets there as well. So I think there's 6 guys on Charlotte you can play and 5 on Chicago, and they're all, I think, pretty good plays.
I like it. I'll answer this question too. Jacob said do FanDuel too. We have a little time on the show, so I'll answer my DK. You guys pull FanDuel up, and I'm going to go back to the same question with that. Maybe nothing does change, but yeah, FanDuel, DraftKings, big site.
Can I add one thing in real quick? So the last time they played, Lonzo Ball was in. Obviously, just about kind of at full health, but still, like despite that, Vucevic went 30, 14, and 5. DeRozan 28, 5, and 6. LaVine 25, 6, and 5. They're putting up monster numbers, and this is with Caruso, with Ball, with Kobe White all playing. So, man, I love this spot. Title Town, go ahead.
Yeah. So DC, we're gonna say something.
I was just saying, if this game just has its normal run out, right? If they just shoot their kind of average percentages, these guys are.
It does what Vegas thinks. It's going to be a smash. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So I'll go to my DK. You guys, while you guys are looking at your FanDuel, the same question for DK on the Charlotte side. Oubre is my favorite, 5.6K. I like how he has shooting guard and small forward eligibility too. Man, after that, like I love LaMelo, Rozier, PJ. So I'll just bunch them all together. I think those 3 are 2A, 2B, 2C. So those are my favorite 4 for sure. On the Bulls side, yeah, point per dollar, Kobe White I have as my favorite. DeRozan is my second favorite. And then I'll say Vooch at 9.5 center. I think he is going to be low on maybe even single digits, and he has a lot of upside. But White and DeRozan for sure my favorites on the Bulls on DK. On FanDuel, I'll answer this quick before I go to the other guys. On the Bulls side, Kobe White still number one. Probably going to go Zach LaVine number two, though. If you look at the prices, 10.5 for DeRozan on FanDuel. I just don't think I can get there. 8K for LaVine, though. That price makes some sense. Probably won't play anyone on the Bulls besides those two that have interest in. So I'm not even going to mention another one. As far as the Charlotte side, it's the same guys kind of. Rozier I love. PJ I love. LaMelo I love. The thing with Oubre, he's a little more, he's 6'1". So I definitely still like Oubre. I like Bridges a little more. So what? Bridges is 7'2" on FanDuel. He's 7'8" on DraftKings. He's a good play on both sites, but that's 600 on FanDuel. 7'2" I think is a little too cheap, or way too cheap. Compared to DK 7.8, it's a little more, right? And I still think that's a little cheap. So I'd say Bridges better play on FanDuel, like him over there. But the Bulls side is priced more appropriately. It's LaVine, Kobe White, the only interest I really have on FanDuel. AP, FanDuel, same question.
What was that question?
Top three Hornets, top three Bulls. And if you're not going to play three of them, just say that.
Hold on. Let me pull
DC, you answer it, then I go to AP.
Hornets, I like Bridges, 7,200 on FanDuel in particular. I'd put Rozier second and then LaMelo Ball third, just because Ball's more expensive. Bulls, LaVine, kind of a clear number one for me at 8K on FanDuel. Kobe White second at 4,500, and then Vooch third at 9,800. If you're playing both sites, listen, you play Oubre on DraftKings, you play Bridges on FanDuel. Like, I'm gonna keep it kind of simple, right? Like, I know you can do the thing where you play one and the other because the ownership. That's not what I'm doing tonight. I want to make the best game stacks that I can, and that's kind of price sensitive. My big take isn't on any one individual player in this game. It's just on the game in general. So it's, my teams are just loaded with all these guys.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Good answer, AP. 3 Hornets, 3 Bulls, FanDuel, then we'll move on.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same. Like, except for Vucevic, I'm going to be off of it. Probably off of him on both sides, actually. But LaVine, DeRozan, White, LaMelo. Actually, my interest in Plumlee is going up, but it would be LaMelo, Bridges, Rozier, or Kelly. I mean, all those guys are just phenomenal. But let me add one last thing. So the last time these two teams played, Plumlee was not in. So the Hornets had to go small. They actually started Nick Richards, and he didn't play much at all. Vucevic torched him, and DeRozan, LaVine, like I just mentioned, or did well also. But Vucevic torched him for 65 DK points. Plumlee's going to play many minutes here. I think he's a really sharp tournament play in stacks, and then attack him with LaVine, DeRozan, go Plumlee, Oubre, and then LaMelo Ball or something. I think it's
just really play everybody from this game.
Just play them all. Just play them all.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
Big total, close spread. You know where the minutes are going. It all sets up really well. So very, very good game. We spent a lot of time on this game, but rightfully so. I mean, this game's most important probably on the slate, since we're not going to get the news for the later games until later, and your lineup's already going to be decided, and what plan you have to approach that news is going to be decided. But you got to load up on some of these guys, is what all three of us think for sure. So before we get in the next game, you're welcome, Jacob, for that. Dez, hopefully everything's going well. Prayers going to you. RPS GOAT, you got to come up with a better joke if you want me to say and get Holden like that. I mean, that was too easy, RPS GOAT. Come on now. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for us, please. You guys are doing pretty well again. 166, 441 watching. Really appreciate it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. And if you're not a member, SB56, 56% off your first month. No better deal around. But let's get into the next game. Third game on the slate, 8 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Raptors, Oklahoma City Thunder. We go from the highest total on the slate to the lowest total on the slate. 204.5. Big spread. Toronto is favored by 10. Toronto is fully healthy, but OKC definitely is not fully healthy. Roby out, Muscala out, Aaron Wiggins out. Diakite just got released. Jeremiah Robinson Earl out, SGA out. A lot of injury news on the OKC side. So, yeah, I don't know. We saw Derek Favors start. Do I want to play Derek Favors? No. Trey Mann 4.9. That price isn't fun. Baisley 5.6. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. AP, I'll go to you. None of this, we go to the best game that we just talked about, and you look at this game, I just want to say kind of faded, but OKC is without a lot of bodies. So what are you thinking in this game? And are you going to anybody on the Toronto side?
Yeah, rotation should be good in this game too. So like it's kind of a tough one to cap DFS wise because we always love these Toronto guys because they play a ton of minutes. However, like OKC, the one thing though, like why they're being competitive and staying in games has been their defense. They've been playing good defense. They'll get Lou Dort back. I believe he's back in there tonight. But they are also running a tighter rotation. So I'm really torn because two good defensive teams that play at a slower pace. I could see a piece or two from here being viable in lineups, but like I don't feel the need to for like Fred VanVleet. Like love the guy, obviously a stud. But again, it's like, am I going to pay 8.5? Because now I'm what's the opportunity cost that I'm missing out on Zach LaVine. I got FanDuel pricing up right now, but on DraftKings 8.6.
I messed you up. I messed your process up. My bad.
No, you're good. I always have DraftKings.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
I love FanDuel though too. Like, I mean, those weekends I hammer FanDuel far more than during the week, but I'm never playing Fred VanVleet here over like a Zach LaVine. So, and honestly, like I could see LaVine being a little bit lower on too, which is kind of interesting. Just because Fred VanVleet is stud, plays heavy minutes, and usually gets it done. The one guy like I could think you could just easily make a case for is Siakam. Like this guy, bigs have done quite well against OKC. He's just involved, in all areas. He's been very consistent, 52, 51, 58, 45 over his last four. The 45 was against Miami, so, we can ignore that. But also a lot of good matchups in there. So keep that in mind. He's played the Hornets and he's played the Bulls, two teams that haven't been as good defensively. And I believe that Bulls game went into triple OT. So I am going to be under on this game in favor for the game that we already talked about. And on the Thunder side, they're going to hurt our feelings eventually. So I'll probably be under on them as well, hoping that the Raptors come out, play good defense. If anything, maybe and I don't think you need to go there on the slate because there are going to be other spots that open up later. But like maybe if the Raptors just, blow them out early, maybe Ty Jerome or someone off the bench. We've seen him get it done in blowout scripts and in limited minutes. So I'm going to be underweight on this game. I wouldn't talk anyone off of it, though, if they wanted to play a piece or two.
Yep, I like it. Someone asked if Poku is playing. Yeah, he played 26 minutes last game, 28 DK points, and now they released Diakite. So yeah, Poku is playing, and I think he's interesting if you'd want to 3-6, take a chance on it maybe. But to answer your question, he is playing. Someone was talking about Derek Favors that he's going to have to play minutes. Yeah, I mean, he started last game. They released Diakite, so he is going to have to play minutes. But
don't play Derek.
I was going to say on a slate like this,
don't play him.
On a slate like this, I'm not playing Derek Favors, but you probably will see him in the starting lineup. And then Anchor brought up, and I haven't touched on this because I feel like it came out Monday night, but why are they limiting Josh Giddey to 30 minutes? I mean, it literally makes no sense at all. As Anchor said, he's a 19-year-old kid. I don't know. I played Giddey a lot on FanDuel. The price $7K. If he wasn't limited to 30 minutes, I would have some interest, but you can't play Giddey anymore at 30 minutes limit. Makes no sense to me. But I did want to bring that up because I saw that from Anchor. DC, I'll go to you. Any interest in Pokus? If you're not going to have any interest in Favors, anybody on the Toronto side, where the minutes are going to go with Toronto, like you talked about, and you've been on them. So what are you thinking in this game?
Yeah, Derek Favors, I can safely rule out from my.
That's why I didn't even ask you about him. I asked you about Poku because I knew that was coming.
Yeah, Poku. I mean, if you want to roll the dice there, he could get you 30 plus, right? Like you can kind of shoot it from deep, contribute other. Like I don't think that's the craziest play. I doubt he'll make my lineups in the end, but I don't hate that. Giddey, I don't know what that 30 minutes limit is about, but I wouldn't want to play him here anyway, right? VanVleet's a fantastic defender. They could stick OG Anunoby on him at times. Just a really tough matchup for Giddey. And Giddey would be really the only guy that I would probably play anyway, right? The lead ball handler. I like going after those guys even on bad teams like OKC, but limited minutes, tough matchup, low total. I mean, Yeah, I love playing the Toronto guys, and I'll still maybe have a little bit of exposure to Siakam just because he's so good. But I mean, even like Scotty Barnes, 6,400 on FanDuel, right? I think he's a decent play. Just a price play, I think, basically is what you're doing, but nothing super exciting here.
Yep, I agree with you. I mean, we go from the best game or one of the best games, the biggest total, and that's like the worst one. So yeah, if you want to fade the first game of the night and fade this game completely, I don't think you're doing anything wrong for sure. If you're going to one-off or something in either game, that's fine too. But I'm breaking the slate up. The first three games are kind of on their own. The last three games are on their own with the news. But the 7:30 p.m. Eastern game, Charlotte and Chicago, cannot be ignored for sure. But let's get into the next game. Hit the like, 455 watch, 191 likes. We appreciate it for sure. The next game on the slate, 10 p.m. Eastern, Golden State Warriors, Utah Jazz. This should be a good one. 224.5 total. Utah is favored by 2. On the Utah side, Rudy Gay out, Joe Ingles out, Rudy Gobert out. Go to the Warriors. Bielitsa, Iguodala, Draymond, and Clay are all out. Kevon Looney is questionable. With all those injuries, with Clay resting today, do you guys have any interest in Steph? Azubuike was mentioned in chat. He's been starting for Whiteside. I'm just going to expect that he stays starting. He's 4K on DraftKings. AP, I'll go back to you. Talk about the Azubuike. Talk about Steph without Clay. Anything else you like in this game?
Yeah, I think this game is on TNT or ESPN. I think it's one of the premier games for
ESPN,
sure.
ESPN, I believe.
ESPN. Okay, yeah, Wednesdays. Donovan Mitchell looked like 8-6 for what he's doing. I wanted to play him against the Knicks. We didn't really know minutes wise, but we had a fit because he played 21 against the Nets, but that game was over like after the first quarter. Came out and just took 26 shots. Like the ball was in his hands. He had 7 rebounds, 6 assists. 39% usage rate, just, massive numbers. He was doing it on the defensive end as well. This Jazz team is so much better with him in there. And he's like, his game, like he is really, rising to that next level. Once Gobert is back, this team is going to be a problem again. At least during the regular season. They always falter in the playoffs, but maybe
always the same thing every year.
I mean, if he plays like this, it's a different story. It's just we haven't seen in the playoffs yet. But I have a ton of interest in him tonight. Obviously the Warriors, they love to play good defense. Takes a hit without Clay in there, without Draymond, a bunch of defensive guys that are going to be, out tonight. So Wiggins has been pretty good defender. But so I have a ton of interest in Donovan Mitchell. I'm not going to play like Azubuike. I don't know. I just don't play these bigs against the Warriors too often. Looney is a good, he's actually kind of an underrated defender down there in the paint as well. It seems like it. So for me, it's really easy. It's like, look at this. This game's going to be competitive. I think the Jazz can get the win here. And if they do, it's going to be because of Donovan Mitchell. It sets different positions, okay? But yesterday, I was like, look, if Philly, for Philly to win, Embiid is going to have a monster night. Like he is like, and they almost got it done. The Suns have just been incredible. But what happened? Embiid put up like 68 or something like that fantasy points, one of the higher scoring centers on the slate. So I think Donovan Mitchell in a similar spot, he's going to need a monster night. And I think he's going to be a phenomenal play. It's just, it goes, where do I sacrifice? Do I get off of a Levine for him? It's really going to be tough in my main build tonight. But somehow, some way, I'm going to get Donovan Mitchell into my lineups. I'm not going to run it back with anyone, though. I think this Warriors team, like I'm not going to play Steph at 10-3. I want to play him when Draymond's in. Draymond does a good job at creating shots for these guys, and they're missing that. So you see a little bit more individual basketball. You're going to see some sloppier shots, and it could be Poole, it could be Curry, it could be Wiggins, any of these guys. I'm just going to be off of them in favor for the Bulls-Hornets game. So for me, it's a one-off in Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I like Donovan Mitchell for sure. And I do agree with you, AP. Like the regular season narrative, same story every time in the playoffs. But man, D. Mitch is a stud. They have the pieces. It's tough playing in Utah. I hope they make a push in the playoffs in one of these years. But that's not anything to do about today for DFS. I will say Steph 10-3 on DK. He's 9-5 on FanDuel. So a little better price over there. And if you run a D Mitch and Steph on either site today, think that's going to be pretty contrarian on a slate like this. So interesting game, big T. DC, I'll go to you. It's a primetime game, ESPN, close spread. It's getting really good basketball game to watch for sure. I think it's a little better to watch than DFS wise, but what are your thoughts on it? Warriors are missing a lot of pieces.
Yeah, the big situation for Warriors is, I mean, they're pretty thin there. Who's really going to give you the big performance, right? Like the slate breaking performance from that value guys.
Probably the starter in the All-Star game, right? Andrew Wiggins.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm not playing Wiggins. Really don't see myself playing many Warriors. I'm with you guys. I think Mitchell. I mean, dudes, like you said, you guys hit it. I don't need to repeat it. He's balling out right now. He's the guy that makes his team go, and he's kind of putting them on their back, and he can do it here. So Mitchell's interesting. I do think Azubuike is a little bit interesting too. The Jazz had lost 4 games in a row. Azubuike wasn't really even in the rotation. They put him in the starting lineup. They've won 3 straight. They're at home here. Obviously a big game for both teams, and he's played well and produced in some pretty big minutes. He's 4K. I do think he has, pretty decent shot at 25, 30 plus fantasy points, frankly. They obviously, he replaced Whiteside. He outplayed him. And if the Jazz are playing well again tonight, I think you'll see Azubuike out there for 25 to 30 minutes at 4K for a guy who's producing. I don't hate it. So, but yeah, Mitchell, Azubuike, and then I'm mostly fading Golden State myself.
I like it for sure. Yeah, not the best game, but the last 2 games of the night, these are very, very interesting for DFS. Next game on the slate, 10 p.m. Eastern, Los Angeles Lakers, Portland Trailblazers, 222 total. The Lakers are favored by 7.5. This is a back-to-back for both of them, both those teams as well. On the Portland side, Dame out, Bledsoe out, Nasir Little out. Josh Hart is probable, though. He's probably going to slide in the starting lineup. I'd be surprised if he didn't. But again, he's not available on DraftKings. He is in the FanDuel player pool, though. Go to the Lakers side. Dwight Howard, questionable. Westbrook, questionable. LeBron, questionable. Carmelo out. I mean, what's Westbrook questionable with? He didn't play the whole 4th quarter. I mean, he's questionable because coaches might say we're better without him on the court, and they really are. Watching that game was so crazy, but don't know what Westbrook can be questionable with. As far as LeBron, I don't know. Like, who knows what these guys are going to do? If both of those guys are ruled out, Anthony Davis is by far the best spend up on the slate. The problem is you're not going to know that more than likely, and you can't ignore this Charlotte and Bulls side all the way. So, DC, you're about to say something. Talk about whatever you're going to say and just talk about this whole
thing. We were joking in Discord, in the NBA Discord, about LeBron is just waiting to see if Westbrook plays. He doesn't want to play with Westbrook anymore. He's just over it. He wants Westbrook out of there. So if Westbrook is in, then LeBron is going to sit. That's our official prediction. We'll see. Mostly joking there, but I do think it's kind of a funny point. We'll see. I mean, Portland obviously just completely tearing it down. I do think Josh Hart, assuming he does indeed play, kind of wipes out all that value, right? Winslow, Ellaby, those guys look pretty interesting to me. Played big minutes, but Josh Hart directly takes minutes away from those guys, at least in my opinion. That's the way I see it. I still think you can play Anthony Simons and Nurkic if you want, but I'm kind of off the other Blazers myself. And then the Lakers, I mean, who knows, right? Like, I don't, obviously just making jokes there about LeBron and Westbrook. I mean, pretty good chance both play, right? Like, neither of them is injured. So I don't know. I think it's more likely that they play than not, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. Like, we watched the game they're clearly not injured. Yes. So yeah, I'm with you there for sure. I have a little more interest though, personally, on the Portland side than I think you do. Yeah. I mean, LB 4-4, he's shooting guard and small forward eligible too. Winslow, they're coming off good games.
I mean, those guys are both in my lineup before when I thought Hart was going to sit.
Yeah, so makes sense for sure. It's not the same spot as yesterday, no doubt about that. I don't even know if you guys saw it too, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Josh Hart, they sat courtside at the Pelicans game, which was pretty cool to see. Beaner put it in the chat. They got traded from the Pelicans that morning. They sat courtside and watched them that night. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, you don't see that every day. But yeah, with Hart, hurts them a little bit, but I still think Simon 7-3, LB 4-4, Winslow 4-5, McLemore 4-3. I think all those guys are still a little interesting personally. And then the Lakers side, yeah, like, it's so hard to do anything without this news. If they're all in, I have no interest really in any of them. Maybe a LeBron or something like that. If Westbrook is out, LeBron gets a bump. If both of them are out, AD and stuff like that. But AP, how are you handling this Lakers side? And do you have interest in Portland or no?
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely not playing Russ either
No,
way.
don't play Russ.
Gosh, it's just what a disaster. Like what a bad. It's going to be hard for them to move him too. That contract is just ridiculous.
Who would even want to watch? Not even the contract, just like watch him play basketball. Who would want that guy in your squad?
LeBron is just like the worst GM. Like the guys he brings in. Like of course LeBron and Russ isn't going to work. I mean,
he's got the All-Star squad back in 2000. Dwight Howard, Carmelo. I mean that'd be a squad they had if it was 15 years ago, but not the right time. AP, go ahead though.
Yeah, so the main thing here is Josh Hart impacts a lot of the starters. You have to think that he starts and makes a significant impact right away. He's having such a phenomenal year and little revenge narrative as well, going against a former team in the Lakers. He played for the Lakers, right? Like not too long ago.
Josh Hart, he did. I'm reading chat though. I don't know if they're talking about Hart, that he's not on the injury report, but someone said he's unlikely to play. So
he was courtside at the Pels game the other night. So I mean,
man, is this man going? I'm on a show with it. You didn't listen to what I was just saying, AP? No, I'm just messing with you. But I just talking about that. But I don't know. Like, you not think he plays now because of that? I mean, they can fly him out.
No, I was, not on the injury report. I usually assume, means playing. But again, kind of we got to wait for the news because he's out.
I'm gonna see if I can find anything because that's important.
If he's out, like I have interest in Winslow. I was watching that game and I'm like, God, this dude sucks. Like he couldn't hit a shot. And then I'm like, dude has like 34 fantasy points. I'm like, okay. And then against this Lakers team, I mean, he's going to be plenty motivated. So I would definitely play Winslow just from the fact that he's going to be out there chucking if Hart's out. Like they don't have many other options. So CJ Ellaby as well. I agree with you there. Simons. So like if Hart is in, I'm off Simons. If he's if Hart's out, then Simons is a good play. But I still I do think that he would be very popular. Obviously, a really good spot. I want to make sure that I'm overexposed to that Charlotte game. So, or even the Wolves Kings. Like I had that game ranked second because like there, and we'll get to it, but there's pieces that looked really good yesterday from that game.
If Hart sits. Again, it seems kind of unclear right now.
I want someone to tag me, whoever said in Discord or something, if you saw that, because he's not on the injury report. I'm just gonna assume he is playing, but he might not. Who knows? I might have missed something.
Yeah, if Hart is in, it's pretty clearly Rozier over. I'm kind of making that as Rozier over Simons. They're kind of similar prices and positions on both sides. And then if Hart is out, then I think it becomes a closer question. But again, it just seems like we don't have clarity, and I guess I'm kind of think he's going to play, but I don't know.
So Paraby said check out RG notifications, and that's what they reported. I'll check it after this. I haven't seen anything though, so we're going to go into the assumption right now they're playing. I'll look into it when they're talking about the next game. But thanks for letting us know, because that is definitely important for sure. Let's get to the next game of the slate though. 487 watching, 222 likes first. Colin said get the boys at 250. So I'll say 250. That's a pretty easy number. Should be easy to get. One game left. Hit the like button first, please. 250, the plays of the day. Won't be hard at all. But next game, the last game on the slate. A lot of injury news in this one too. Minnesota Timberwolves, Sacramento Kings. Another big boy total, 234.5. Minnesota is favored by 7. On the injury report for the Timberwolves, D-Russ, Edwards, Pat Bev, Taurean Prince, Naz Reid, Okogie, all are questionable in this game. Go to the Sacramento side. Holmes is probable, Bagley questionable, Harkless is doubtful, is what I'm seeing. Not even worth myself even talking about this game because we have an expert on the other side. DC, talk about the Timberwolves side, talk about Sacramento side.
Yeah, we talked about it at the top of the show, but I think most of these Timberwolves are going to play. So the guys that they listed questionable, Naz Reid, Taurean Prince, Russell and Beverly, rather, they all played along with with Anthony Edwards. They all played last night, a game that they won by 20. They're playing well. I don't, and these injuries, again, Patrick Beverley got through the game with the sprained ankle. I don't understand why he would sit out tonight. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I expect these guys to play. The exception possibly being Anthony Edwards. I do think he's just kind of seems like he's a little bit worn down, as a second year player playing a lot of minutes. So I wouldn't play Edwards anyway. If he's out, of course, bumps to Russell, to Towns, but not to the point where I feel like I have to construct my roster to wait for that news. Because again, if I'm wrong, right, and all these dudes are out, then then that would obviously change things. But I don't think these, trade rumors, right? The Timberwolves might make a small move. They're not making big moves. So I don't think you have to, that's why they're questionable. I just think they're a little tired or sore or whatever, and they'll ultimately play. That's how I'm going to build my lineups, and hope for the best. If you want to backload and hope something goes down and I have it wrong and all these dudes sit, listen, you're going to have a ton of value on the Timberwolves, no question about it. So that is an approach that you could take. Not the one I'm doing, but it makes sense, and it could absolutely work out.
Yeah. So assuming all the Timberwolves are playing, probably not as much interest on the Timberwolves side. But what about Sacramento? Because we saw yesterday that De'Aaron Fox might not have been hurt. I don't know what was going on. I think the Kings probably thought they were going to deal Fox, and then instead they couldn't find it, and they dealt Tyrese
Halliburton's like your guy, Tyler. Why don't you go in on the Kings for a minute?
I tweeted about it. One of the worst trades you'll see. I don't know what the Kings are doing. They
don't know what they're doing. That's the problem.
Exactly. But hey, what I always, with a couple buddies, I was like, hey, bad teams got to stay bad teams. Bad franchise got to stay bad franchises. Yeah. So the good ones keep going, like the Bucks. But no, I don't know what they're doing with Tyrese. They're going to regret that for sure. But hey, we saw yesterday, De'Aaron Fox, he played, and he's going to play with a chip on his shoulder because he knows what's going on in the media. He's 7.7K. I was interested in De'Aaron Fox. Yeah. Then they got Davion Mitchell in a backcourt that's now depleted because Buddy Hield was a part of that too. Metu, power forward. What are your thoughts on the Kings side? I think they're a little interesting.
Yeah,
DC, do you have any interest in that, or did I pull Mangone and just miss everything you said?
No. I talked Timberwolves. Fox at 7,700 I think is an interesting play. I just haven't been on him all year. I like the Charlotte and Bulls guards better if I'm spending up personally. But yeah, I think he's got upside. Like you said, maybe a little fire under his ass right now, which frankly he needs. It's been a kind of a lackluster season for him, but now he's kind of. They're saying, okay, this is your team, right? I guess we drafted this stud Halliburton, we give up on him after 2 seasons, but whatever. So maybe Fox is going. I think the more interesting plays are kind of the big men, because they are pretty thin, right? At the 3 and the 4 in particular. So Metu at 4,200, I think might start tonight. If he does, I think he's a good play, good value play. But yeah, mostly just kind of the value from the Kings. And then, you could talk about 6 or 7 Timberwolves if all those guys sit, but it's just kind of hard to, you're at that point, you're just kind of listing the rest of the roster, right? So
yeah, it's definitely tough on the Timberwolves side. I had more interest in Sacramento side. AP, you said this is your second favorite game on the slate. So tell the people what you're looking at in it.
I want to, back up a little bit, but, so one thing I wanted to look at yesterday, because I don't think these guys were midday downgrades. I think at least one of them was, and that is Anthony Edwards. So the knee soreness. And then when you look at how he's been playing, I think that makes quite a bit of sense. But if we go to yesterday's slate, Taron Prince, Naz Reid, D'Lo, Josh Okogie, Pat Bev were all questionable all day. And then, post lock, they all got ruled in. So if we go off of, just how they're sitting right now and what DC has said, I agree. I think there's a chance that these guys, D'Lo, Pat Bev, et cetera, play, especially given the fact that they won that game pretty easy and they want to go out and not all of them played full minutes either. So
yeah, it makes no sense why they would sit those guys. So yeah, I'll be really surprised if they don't play.
I'm going to work. I think maybe they let Edwards.
Edwards. I kind of expect Edwards to sit, honestly, but I'll be surprised.
But you got to have some interest in the other pieces, right? Or because you'll get them low owned. It's tough to wait for all this news. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, D'Angelo Russell would. I mean, if you just look at what what's his name, Jordan McLaughlin did, like, yeah, they just let the guy run. Like D'Lo out there. I mean, man, I would, you could look at Jared Vanderbilt, Towns, like he could absolutely smash. And then so keep an eye on the news. Like we don't know for sure, but it looks eerily similar to what we saw yesterday. So I think it's somewhat safe to assume that a few pieces here are going to get ruled in. So keep an eye on that. And then, yeah, the Kings side, I mean, Darren Fox, like, I don't know, like, man, so like I made a pivot late in some of my builds to get, I had the ability to get Jones in there as a punt, and I had to make a move, and I was on that golf show. So it was tough because I'm like looking at this as the news was coming in, but I found a way to get Fox and Jones, and God, they pulled him with like, what, 6 minutes left? Those two were absolutely smashing. This game was just back and forth, all points, little defense. And the Wolves, they started to relax just because the Kings couldn't do anything defensively to slow them down. So I think Darren Fox is an interesting play, assuming that none of those guys are going to be in for the Kings. So if somehow they were, then we'd move off of this game. I don't think that they're going to be playing unless someone else has, better information there. Lastly, my last comments are, it looks like Holmes is back, but Bagley, he continues to be questionable, then gets ruled out. He's only played in like 30% of his questionable games when he's tagged as a questionable to play. So I think there's, a likelihood that he's out, which would make Metu a phenomenal play. So I have interest in Metu. Maybe like, do we think Rashawn Holmes like comes and, has could he get it done in 25 to 28 minutes? I mean, if you're multi-entering, maybe, but I'm almost a little bit more interested in Plumlee since, playing on the fact that no one's going to play Plumlee. He's going to have to play big minutes to match up with Vooch. So I would think that he would get more minutes, similar like fantasy point per minute player of late. But yeah, Fox, I think it's fine. Barnes, I think is fine. My last question, both for you guys, these games where it's two teams playing each other, they just played, either a day before or 2 days ago or a direct back-to-back where they're then playing again. Do you think that impacts anything at all? Like sometimes they're sloppy games. Like it seems like sometimes like these teams are disinterested. That's like my only concern. I mean, you guys thought about that at all?
I think the Wolves will beat them soundly tonight. If my kind of theory on the Wolves is correct and all these guys play, maybe they sit Edwards, but even then, I think they've got the Kings are a little bit overmatched by the Wolves with their current roster. I mean, just look who they're running out there. It's like the Kings have like 4 crappy centers and just like no depth anywhere else. It's just a horrible roster right now until they get the guys they traded for. So I expect the Wolves to kind of handle this one easily.
To answer your question, AP, I probably look at back-to-backs and stuff like that. Probably one of the least in the industry personally. I just hope, I mean, if they're playing, they're not on the injury report. These guys are in such good shape. I don't know. I don't know.
So individual, right? It just depends on the players on each individual game. So yeah,
it's kind of like it's not exactly similar, but it's kind of like the BVP talk and stuff in baseball where like there's so much that goes involved.
I think like for me to stack this game up, I really need like Pat Bev and Edwards out. Pat Bev, good defender. Probably not able to directly hang with Fox when Fox is aggressive because of how fast he is and how quickly he can get to the hoop. But with Bev out, it's definitely gonna help things. So I think it could be fairly interesting. But we need pieces out on the Wolves side for sure. Otherwise, it's sit and wait for the news.
Yeah, people in chat are like asking, is Jones still in play? They're talking about Metu with Holmes back. I mean, I expect, I think Metu is still going to start at the 4. He's definitely a worse play with Holmes in there. Damian Jones, I probably wouldn't go to now with Holmes starting, especially on this slate. I think Metu's fine, but I mean,
they don't really. They have plenty of big men. Like Metu wasn't going to play the 5 anyway, right? With all the centers that they have.
No, it would have been Damian Jones sliding into the starting lineup.
So I think Metu is kind of safe. I mean, they lost Harkless too, right? Like he was, I thought, kind of a reasonable play. I didn't.
He's playing a bunch of minutes.
Yeah.
Harkless was.
They just have almost nobody left. I mean, Louis King played 18 last
Someone
game.
brought him up. Who is this guy? Hold on. You said it. Someone in chat was upset. Uptown. No Louis King mentioned feels bad. Uptown. There you go. DC talked about Louis King.
Well, they don't have anybody left. He's like one of the few guys that can play those minutes. So that's like who Metu's competing with, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you feel pretty good about that.
No, yeah. So is he going to be in your player pool if you're making 20 lineups? You're probably not making 20.
Louis King, no. Metu, yes.
Yeah. All right. Uptown, no, you got your Louis King mention. I didn't even bring him up.
I didn't even see it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you DC does not have the YouTube chat.
No, too big of a boomer. I can barely get my computer to turn on. So
yeah, at least you got your internet back from Cabo.
Yeah, exactly.
All the way
Wouldn't you guys
show.
play like Ramsey instead, just because he's a guard?
Jalen?
Like they're
No,
what's his name?
Jamias or something.
I was just gonna call him Jameis.
To be honest, I did not. I don't even know who that is, and I didn't even know he was on the team before that. So usually I'm not gonna. I don't even know this guy.
I mean,
DC, I know
DC's
looking it up right now. I can tell.
I mean,
so.
Louis King. What I'm saying is over Louis King. Like they have plenty.
No,
of
I'm
bigs.
not. No one's playing Louis King, but I'm with you. Ramsey over. If I had to play one, it would be Ramsey. I'll grant you that.
Well, stack up Jordan McLaughlin and Ramsey. Is that what we're gonna do again? Run it back from last night? I mean,
if we saw what McLaughlin did yesterday, anything's possible in this world.
I do think it's viable to just make your whole lineup all three of the last games, right? And just almost hope for like a blowout in Charlotte and Chicago, something like that. But if I'm going to the late games, I want to leave like all kinds of spots open, because who knows who's going to be in and out in these late games. I mean, or even more could change, right? I mean, like Westbrook could be traded easily, like in the next 4 hours or whatever.
This trade deadline is definitely going to be fun. I mean, it's been fun so far, but like tomorrow and stuff.
Maybe we'll get the Harden and Westbrook bomb at the same time. That'd be pretty cool.
Don't you think? I mean, Harden's got to go to Philly. I think that trade's going to happen for sure.
I think it's going to too.
Harden and Embiid is going to be sick, man. And then
the East is good.
I like Simmons, Kyrie, and Durant too. I like that pairing. So the East is going to be fun.
That's where the defending champs showed why they're the defending champs, and LeBron talked about that yesterday.
I'm still in the Bucks, but
it'll be fun. No, it'll be really.
KD is going to be holding Kyrie down and giving him that vaccine here soon. I mean, it's coming.
Well, I don't even. It looks like, who knows? I mean, New York. He might even be able to play home. He might even be able to play home games. Who knows?
Gosh, they should change that rules.
Yeah. Who knows? We're not going all down this road and stuff. Who knows what's going on with that? But yeah, I mean, I'd be shocked to see Harden not trade. Like, he's just sitting out these games. Like, he's like, trade me. I'm not. He's probably like, I'm not going to play.
What is his problem? He just doesn't want to play with Kyrie. Like, share the ball.
He likes the ball, and he likes his ball in the hand too much. Is my thought. Like, if he's on the Sixers, him and Embiid pick and roll. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he doesn't want to probably share it as much. So that's my guess, but it's all speculation over here. Not going to have to worry about that. Yeah. Nobody wants Russell Westbrook. He's a disaster. Hoop said. We're with you, Hoop, man. I mean,
the other thing, why, like, you know, because what I've been thinking is why would the Nets help out Philly? Both of these teams need it. Like, the Nets need help too. You know, they need other pieces.
Both teams get better. That's why I think it's going to happen. That's why it's tricky negotiating, right? I mean, I think they're arguing over Maxey and Curry.
Tobias is going to be a part of a deal that's going to go to a 3-team. I think it's a multi-team deal, and
we're going to see some big trades, I think.
Let's say this happens. So, like, on March 10th, I said this in Discord, but like Brooklyn goes to Philly to play. Let's just say the trade happens. Do we think Ben Simmons plays in that game? Like, they will destroy him. Like, they will eat that dude alive. I bet he won't play. He's so soft. No way he plays.
He'd have to play. You know how bad that would be.
I'll bet right. All right, if it happens, I'll say he doesn't play.
All right, we'll get a
just
little
for lunch, a little lunch bet. We'll do Chipotle.
I want the title.
Title will be in here like $700, $800.
No, I was just gonna do the usual.
I know the angles that you work, Title. Like I know.
You brought it up. I was just an angle. You're the one that made the bet. I'm just accepting it. A little $20 Chipotle. Yeah.
AP's making worse bets than me over there. You do.
It is a pretty bad bet, but we'll see.
I was gonna say, I didn't even say anything. There's no angling going on, but yeah, a lot of
just sits there and people just offer him bad bets. He gets not his ball, he just flips him right up.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna say no to that, but little $20. We'll come back. What's the date? February 9th, write it down. Someone remind in chat, but you guys got the likes, 250, 262 you guys got. We really appreciate it. So it's about time for the plays of the day. I'm going to go to myself first because when we were talking about it, someone stood out to me and I don't want it taken. I know DC is not going to take it. I don't know about AP though. I'm going to De'Aaron Fox at 7.7K. And some of this has to do with, I think he's playing with the chip on his shoulder and he has something to prove. And this price tag below 8K without Tyrese, without Buddy Hield, something to prove when he was probably going to be the one ship. Now he's the one they're building around. De'Aaron Fox, 7.7K, big total is the SO play of the day. DC, I'll go over to you. The mom's basement play of the day. If you want to chirp my play first a little bit, it looks like you were trying to bite your tongue. You can do that first, and then you can give yours.
Well, I was going to say, the pressure is on me now to redeem the plays of the day after you get De'Aaron Fox on this beautiful slate. De'Aaron Fox, who disappoints in 98% of the games that he plays. But
hey, as long as it's the 2%, that's all I care about.
All right. Well, yeah, you can have De'Aaron Fox. I'll go to a guy who will deliver. That's Terry Rozier. He's had a kind of a slow few games, tough matchups, much better tonight. I think you'll see him out there for. I say Rozier plays 44 minutes in this game. Puts up 52 fantasy points. There you go.
There we go. Terry Rozier, mom's basement play of the day. AP, gentleman's call of the day. Cap it off for us.
Yeah, I'm going to stay in that same game. We're going to go Zach LaVine. A lot of transition buckets here. LaVine looked good last game in a tough matchup too. Much easier spot here. I think he gets it done at 9.1K.
Zach LaVine, the gentleman's call of the day. Terry Rozier, De'Aaron Fox, even though you will not see any De'Aaron Fox in DC's lineup, but that's going to do it for us. Those three plays of the day. 6-game slate. Again, you can't leave your computer after the first game's lock. It's going to be a crazy one later, maybe. We'll be in Discord as always, answering questions. The news hits a certain way, we'll be in there telling you which way. Ask 2v2, ask a 3v3, 1v1. We'll give you our thoughts. That's why Discord is the best for sure. Content will be updated. Big golf locks tomorrow. Make sure you get in the streets. I see the tournaments are already filling up pretty fast in the golf streets. Make sure you check out the content. The guys absolutely crush it. The UFC show this week is going to be Friday night this week, 10 p.m. Eastern instead of Saturday morning. So Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, DC, Keg, myself will be doing UFC, big UFC 271 card. Daytona, NASCAR's coming up. I think next week that is. They have a Millie Maker. No better time to be a member. SB56 gets you 56% off your first month. That's going to do it, though. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you for making the show fun in the comments. Hopefully you run Pier and get to the top tonight. But for DC, AP, Simon Behind the Sticks, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.